What's going on, everyone? It looks like the NBA is finally going to implement something that should have already been implemented as soon as they made the rule, and that is the NBA Competitions Committee is eyeing second coaches challenge if first is a success. The NBA could implement a new rule next season that awards coaches with a second challenge in a game if their first one is successful. Per Bleacher Report's Chris Haynes, the league's competition committee is in serious discussion about changing the challenge rules starting with the 2023-2024 season. It's also added that the test run of the two-challenge system could be used in Summer League play. The NBA introduced the Coaches Challenge on a one-year trial basis during the 2019-2020 season. It was adopted as a full-time rule by the Board of Governors in December of 2020. Now, the Coaches Challenge rule, I think, is a great rule. I actually think that they should have more challenges or just reviews in place, period, right? But the Coaches Challenge is a great start. I don't know why they didn't just implement, you get it right, you get to keep another one. I mean, the NFL has the same thing. I don't know why this has to be like some new groundbreaking, like, oh no, like they're changing the rules, like here we go. Like, no, it's something that should have been done to begin with. Because the problem is that you, as a coach, you see it happen all the time in games. Teams and coaches want to hold it till the end because they don't know what the outcome's going to be. If it's a tight game, it's a close game, one call could be the difference between you winning and losing. So teams will hoard that challenge, and a lot of times it doesn't even end up getting used. And it's like you'll see something that was a clear and obvious, like, man, they should have challenged that. And in hindsight, you're like, man, if they would have challenged that in the second quarter when, this team was going on a run, you could have stopped the run, and that would have, and you're talking about a 5-point swing here or something crazy like that, right? It happens all the time, almost on a game-to-game basis. And teams won't use that challenge because it's like, well, if I use the challenge and, even if and I do get it right, then I still don't have a challenge later for the game. So the fact that, like, hey, here's your challenge. If you win, you get to keep it. Then I think that should be something that should have already been done, right? And then if you don't get it right, I think personally teams should get two challenges, period. Whether you win it or lose it, right? Now, I understand that you need to have things within reason, but I think you should at least get a challenge per half, right? At the bare minimum. You get a challenge per half, just like, timeouts. Like, you get so many timeouts, you have to use X amount of timeouts or you lose them before this time period. Like, just do something like that. Look, you get a challenge in the first half, you get a challenge in the second half, whether you win or lose it. I think that that's something that they need to do. I also think, and you saw this on several occasions, you see it actually a lot. The best probably example of this is like goaltending, right? The goaltending call. I think that because you already have people that are watching the monitors, and you already have people that are, reviewing and checking to see, oh, was that the right call? Was that this? Was that that? Look at another great example is the 3-point shot, right? You get guys that are like really close to the line, and what will they do? They count it as a 3, and then they go and review it later and see, okay, it wasn't a 3, it was a 2. His foot was clearly on the line, and then they make the adjustment, and then they make it a 2. Why don't they do that for almost any close call, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to stop the flow of the game. I don't think you could do that for like an out-of-bounds call, right, in the middle of a game or something. But I think late game, why not go review it real quick and get it right, right? If all coaches are kind of like, or all refs, sorry, if all refs are kind of like, what do we do here? Did you see it? No, you didn't see it. Did I see it? No, I didn't see it. And instead of guessing, you have the footage. Go look at the footage and just go say, hey, like, okay, no, that was clearly off of LeBron James or whatever, right? Like, there you go. Problem solved. I think that they should allow and implement the review rule, or have the head ref with an earpiece or something. You already have people at the monitor watching the monitor, and just have them relay it. Hey, actually, that was off of, Steph Curry. So it should be Denver's ball, whatever, right? Like something like that. Implement that. You have the technology. You have the understanding. Get the calls right. You're never going to get every call right. That's why you give the coaches challenges, right? So if you implement 2 challenges, period, and then you allow, like, say, a goaltending, right? Call the goaltend and then review it. And if it wasn't a goaltend, then remove it, right? So award them the 2 points, call it how it is, and then go and review it and see what it is. You have these refs who you're going off of the eye test, you're going off of whatever, like that's fine. Let the refs make the call and then overturn the call if it's the proper call. Get it right is the point, right? Or even like, now you couldn't do that with like free throws and stuff, right? So like, for example, like LeBron in the Celtics game, right? Where he clearly got fouled and they didn't call it and it cost them the game. Like you can't go back and change that. You can't be like, okay, well, the game's over, whatever. But again, like for like goaltends or turnover, like where, the refs didn't really see it. So it's just like, hey, like who's on the monitor, real quick. Okay, who's it out on? Okay, it's out on this team, right? It's out on the Celtics. Okay, cool. Like there's a lot of things that you could use the review for, and allow these refs to get it, even if they get it wrong, make the proper correction to get it right. You're not going to be able to fix everything, but that would fix a lot of things, right? Like you do it with the 2 and 3 point shot, right? Was it a 3? I don't know. We're going to count it as a 3, and then we'll remove the point later. Why can't you do that with other stuff, right? Like why can't you go and review for clear path fouls or take fouls and stuff like that, right? Like you have people at the monitors that are giving you insight. You have, the home base that's reviewing stuff too. Like, why not get what you can correct? If you can get something correct, why not get it correct? Because it's like they half-ass certain things. They do it for some stuff, but they don't do it for everything that they could. And it's like, why? Why? Even if you have to hire another ref that isn't actually on the court, all they are is just at the monitors reviewing everything and seeing what got right and what got wrong, and then implement those changes. Like I said, things like goaltending or, basket interference or, whatever. You see it a lot. You see stuff like that a lot. Count the basket, go and review it, or have the guy at the monitor or girl at the monitor, whoever's at the monitor, have them review it. And if it was the incorrect call, then overturn it. Award the basket, award whatever it is. You can fix that across the board. There are so many instances, game in and game out, where it's like, I don't know if that was the right call. Okay, well, make the call and then add or subtract accordingly. Or the opposite, right? So let's say it was goaltending, but they called a good block, right? Well, go back and review it, and if it was a goaltending, reward the 2 points. Take the block off of Anthony Davis and give the bucket to Steph Curry. Like, there's so many things that the NBA could easily fix and adjust that they already do for other things. So it's like, why do you do it for this, but you don't do it for that? Like the 2 challenge rule, that should have been something that was implemented to begin with. And again, I still think it's flawed, because here's the thing. Because once again, you're going off of human error. And a lot of times it's close, right? A lot of times. So the challenge rule, period, you're trusting a referee to overturn a call that they made, right? Like, are they willing to make that change? 2, more times than not, it's pretty close, right? So you're trusting, and it has to be, quote unquote, indisputable evidence, right? Sometimes you see stuff that isn't indisputable that they change, and sometimes you see stuff that they don't, right? It's kind of, again, it's based on human judgment, which is why I think regardless, you should get 2 challenges, whether you win or lose. if you lose your first, you get a challenge in the first half, you use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. Just like the challenge now. If you don't use that challenge at the end of the game, that's it. You lose it. Like, it doesn't carry over to the second half, doesn't anything. You get a challenge in the first half, you get a challenge in the second half. If there was nothing that you felt was challenge worthy in the first half, cool. Don't use the challenge, right? You still got your other one later on. Or that also is a way to, like, you see it sometimes, like, at the end of games, teams will use their challenge to, like, try to spare a player from a foul. You could do that in the first half. I mean, how many times do we see silly little tic-tac fouls that shouldn't have been called, or phantom calls where, like, the guy didn't even get touched? There was no contact or nothing, or it was marginal contact. And, say Steph Curry gets his third foul midway through the second quarter, right? It's like, well, but it wasn't a foul. Okay, well, let me go use my challenge now, my first half challenge, get that overturned. I still have my other challenge for later in the game, and now I don't have to sit Steph because he has 3 fouls. Like, it would just make things just better for the game in general, in my opinion. Because now, when stars get those early fouls, you would have the ability to erase that if it wasn't a real foul or if it was marginal. Now, the coaches, look, they're not going to challenge it if it really was clearly a foul. Sometimes, Steph really just got his third foul. Okay, but what if the second foul wasn't a good foul? Or get my point? Like, it's just about having the ability to correct mistakes that you couldn't do otherwise. It's just better for the game, right? You have the technology, you have the ability to fix a lot of the issues that goes on game to game. And I understand, some people might look at it as like, well, that's part of the game. And I get it. But if you can improve the game and make it better, why wouldn't you? That's the whole point. Like, technology, advancements in technology, all that stuff. Like, I've said this about, I think baseball, I don't know why baseball hasn't done this. Baseball is probably the best example, right? You have an eye test on what's a ball and what's a foul, and it's never consistent, but you have the technology to tell you otherwise. And they say, well, we don't want to get rid of the umps. We don't want to get rid of the refs. Like, you don't have to. Use the technology, have that technology help the refs get it right, or have that technology help the umps get it right, right? Like, all of those things, like, that's stuff that I really think would be beneficial for the game. Like, we've seen games where the refs just completely destroy the game. And you're just like, this is terribly officiated. You have the technology to completely avoid that, right? If the ref makes a call and it's the wrong call, you can adjust it accordingly or have it corrected. Like, you have a window. Somebody's watching in real time. Like, let's say the ref makes a foul and it wasn't a foul, right? Like, hey, we see stoppage plays all the time, right? Like, you could have somebody on the monitor, hey, that was the wrong call, just side out of bounds, right? There you go. Like, there's ways to fix it and improve it without ruining the integrity of the game, is my point. And I just think that, why not fix those things? Why not correct those things? Because it'd be beneficial for everybody. You're never going to be able to fix everything, right? Because some stuff, like, you just can't stop the flow of the game. Again, like, a ref calls a take foul and it's not a take. Like, you stop the momentum. Yeah, you can go review it. Okay, it's not a take foul. Okay, but you just stop. Like, they could have gotten a fast break. But, like, there's certain things, right, that you can't stop, right? Like, it's just, it's within the flow of the game. It was a turnover, but it should have been a foul, right? But they're already heading back the other way and getting a layup. Like, what? Now you don't count that basket, you go down. No, you just allow the flow of the game. I'm not saying stop the flow of the game, but I'm saying that there are a lot of things over the course of a game that are easily fixed if you just made a minor change or two. So, anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think, yeah, they should do that? Do you like this rule change? If you win the first challenge, you get a second. Do you think you should get 2 challenges, period, regardless, one in the first half, one in the second half? Or do you think you should be able to use both challenges regardless the whole game? I wouldn't mind that either. I really wouldn't. Like, if you wanted to, hey, like, you get 2 challenges, you can save them till the end of the game, you can use them in the first 2 minutes of the game, wherever. I wouldn't mind that either. But anyway, love to hear your thoughts.